Hello, everyone. Welcome to SGA Cohort 2.0 again. So today it's going to be our fourth lecture, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things that can take you from where you are right now to the place where you want to be. And this is a really important lesson that today is going to be. But before that, I want to talk with the people who are here. And one more thing, people who are not here, and you might have seen maybe some people are skipping the classes a lot of the time. So you'll see today a lot of people getting kicked out of the group chat. And I've been serious about it from the very beginning, and I'll stick with my word as well. So
Sorry.
yeah.
Can you please repeat before my sound? I couldn't hear anything. So I think you mentioned something important, but I didn't hear.
Uh, yeah, I mentioned about that today is going to be a really important lecture for you guys because it's going to be about growth strategies, and I'm going to move forward with that. But what I meant is that you'll see a lot of people getting kicked out from the group chat today, and also today there might be some background sounds because I'm traveling with my family, so there are a little bit of noise because I'm going to be going back to China soon. So that's how I'm just preparing and just traveling around. So yeah, that's why let's we can get started from now on, and I'll talk more about the things that I want to talk about. So okay, let's as I mentioned, today this lecture is really important because we're going to talk about business models and growth strategies. Most of you already know a little bit about business models because you have participated in SGA hackathon. You had to pitch your idea, and there you had to include your business models. But I think most of them were not that refined as a business model should be. So that's what today I'm going to talk about. What is it? And how should you show your business models when you're pitching, or in terms of your startup, how do you go with business models? And later we're going to talk about growth strategies. So now that you have an MVP, you're trying to get customers, or maybe you already have some customers, how do you grow from here? So we're going to talk about that. But before we move in, let's have a review of the previous lecture. So as you know, we talked about minimal viable product. We talked about it a lot. But now the stage where you are in currently, we're not going to talk about MVP anymore. Now it's time for you to move forward with the MVP and build a product and develop that one. And some of you already launched. Congratulations for that. And people who didn't launch, they will launch and also try to get customers. So we talked about lean and heavy startups on minimum viable product. I think most of you are going with the lean version. You're not going with the heavy one, which is really good. And how do you verify your MVP? The most common and the efficient way is to test with your customers. And then we moved into, after our third lecture, we moved into our SGA AI hackathon last week for 2 days, and you guys did amazing. I'm really proud of you guys, and the thing that I really wanted to see from you guys is that how can you take your idea and then try to build it out within really short time. And I believe that you guys gained the confidence by now that it's possible to build your startup even without not having all the resources and not having the right timeline, or maybe the right person or co-founders. You can just start right away, and then later, step by step, you can include those things one by one. So then what we talked about also in our previous lectures is about rapid iteration. Feedback. I'm talking about it so many times. It's becoming my new day-to-day word, feedback and improvement. Then retention rate. How many people who are visiting your platform or who are trying to use your product, and how many of them are sticking to it? What is the retention rate? You'll have to calculate that, and that's a really key part. And pivoting. Some of you, I think, I talked with you. Some of you reached out to me and talked about how can you move forward with this one. And I mentioned that this is where pivoting can come into play. Maybe you just made a generic platform. Now you can include some AI technologies or AI agents or maybe you can include some other services, other functions. Maybe you are going into one direction now, you can kind of like diversify a little bit more. So that's where the pivot comes into play. So I want to ask you guys some questions, and all of you who are here, I want to hear from you guys. What else do you remember about our previous classes from the past few weeks, and how did the lessons that you gained shape you, how you thought before you joining this cohort, and what are the things that you want to look forward to in future? Because based on that, I can really see where you are standing right now, and from there on, we can move forward, and I'll give you like practical advices from there on. So does anyone want to start by themselves, or should I pick someone? Okay, I thought maybe Chris is gonna open up his mic.
I was waiting that you pick someone.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Please open up your mic and also camera so that we can also see you. It's not really easy to have online classes and have a real connection, but yeah, we try as much as possible. Yeah, Chris, you wanna go, or Gul, you wanna go first?
Chris.
Okay.
Me? Oh my God! Yeah, there are crazy things right now. Like right now, I'm thinking about to pause my PhD.
Oh my God.
And yeah, because it's getting serious. I mean, if you go now to our website, I didn't mention that before, but we have applied for trademarks. We want to make Hello German a global brand, and there are now people using the same name. And we also launched music. We are the first one. We also have already protection for the music. And now is, I feel, time where we need to protect our brand and take other copycats down. And this means I need to put more time in that. And this is very difficult during my PhD. So I'm now thinking about to not quit PhD, pause, so that I have the chance, maybe if I can make Hello German within 1 year, make some good revenue, then my idea would be after 1 year, I kind of let it run automatically. But I think also the SGA program also shaped me that like I remember the question you asked me in the very beginning, if I get funding such as 300,000, if I would quit, and I mentioned yes, I would immediately. And for me, I would even quit my PhD without getting anything, because I'm serious about it. If I get something, that's great, but if I get nothing, then I still do it. And yeah, so I just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Yeah, it's great to hear. I didn't know that you were planning to quit your PhD or pause. Because at the very beginning you mentioned that you only had maybe 1 year left, or 1 semester, as I can remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is just now with trademarks, like when you apply for trademarks, they only make sense if you enforce them. If you let them sleep, the others who use the same name, they get right over it, and I cannot take them down later. So I need to be serious about that. And there are many people using the same name, especially after I got all the accounts, like I got all the platforms, this platform, that platform, and also trademark. Then there were many others starting the same. And now today I just put the TM over Hello German, which means trademark. And you also remember I mentioned we did not want to go online. The reason why we did not want to go online is because we didn't want to bring any attention to anyone that we applied for trademarks. So we wanted to hide, kind of. But right now we need to go into the offensive mode and yeah, attack.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, you might be seeing a lot of the traffic there. But still, if you search in Google, I don't know if you guys took the site down. I searched Hello German, but I haven't found anything in Google yet. So
yes, it's not in Google because I just started indexing yesterday. Before I did not index it. I didn't want to appear on Google.
yeah.
And yeah, just since yesterday. And it will take like maybe 2 months.
Okay, I see. Okay, no worries. Just keep going on that one, and I'm happy to hear that you want to be really serious with this one, because pausing PhD when you have only 1 year left, it's a big step. That shows your commitment. So I'm happy about that as well. But yeah, after you do all the things and also do like SWOT analysis, you know, what is like strength, weakness, opportunities, threat. Based on that, you can take decision of like whether you need to pause, wait, or move forward with this one. Yeah. Anyone else like from your team, Gul, Ying, you guys want to say something about it? Ying joined a little bit later, but yeah, we haven't talked with Ying yet. So if Ying is willing, you can also talk.
I think, Gul, you can start.
Speak.
Yeah, Gul, you wanna go?
Yeah. Um, yeah, for this program, like, yeah, I already listened this program last year. And last year was just as a listener, what I was listening. And I was not thinking that I am going to join the program as a participant. And this time, like, yeah, with Chris, I joined this as a participant, and there's like so much things we are learning in this program also. Yeah, through the lectures. And this is like, yeah, one of the things that we also decided, like one of the thing which I already like, yeah, heard from you. I mean, I also heard from many other side, if you have some beta version, so you need to launch your beta version as fast, so you will get the feedbacks from your audience. And of course, like, growing something is not just you are going to viral immediately. It is gonna take time. And this is like, yeah, startups always like takes time. And right now, I am also reading a book, Before You Quit Your Job by Robert Kiyosaki.
Wow.
So it's just like completely different. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this because this is like first time which I joined some startup things and to listening some talks and useful stuff. And in past, like, I did not find any kinds of such program here in China, like especially nearby Tsinghua University. So yeah, this is really good opportunities for all the young peoples who are just like initially want to do something, starting something. Yeah.
Okay, I'm really happy to hear from you guys. Like, and also to see how you guys have evolved from the very beginning. I know you just finished your PhD, you're doing your job, and then Chris was doing his PhD, and I can see that your team's involvement. Also, there are other teams who are also doing the same, but it's really like peaceful to hear that, you know, you guys are not only taking this startup journey as like, okay, this can be my side project, but this can be the future that I always wanted to pursue. So yeah, I'm happy about that. Let's move to another person, maybe. I mean, Mo Skylar, you wanna go?
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but a little bit. The sound is a little bit cranky, I think.
Yes, because I'm at outside, so I couldn't. I couldn't like the voice connection is not that stable.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We can hear you now. Yeah, you can go.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go
So
on.
for me, I think for my project, I think I'm still working on it, and I really want to make it. How do I say? Make it possible for other people to use the project as like to use my website. So I'm still progressing on it, and I yeah, that's it for me. Oh.
Okay, I see. You might be outside and it's a little bit noisy. But yeah, it's okay. We had an officer as well, and yeah, I'm happy to see your growth. And if you guys don't know, Skylar, she at first joined our SGA cohort 1.0, and at that time she had to travel back home, and she couldn't join in person because last year we were only offering in person in Beijing. But then this year she reached out to me. She didn't only reply like reach out to me, but also applied directly, not only once, 2 times, because first time we were not replying back or not sending any emails because we were processing other applications as well, and we were keeping it at hold, like whether we want to accept someone from our cohort 1. But then after some discussions we said, okay, she didn't do any classes with us, so yeah, well, we can just move forward. And then at the end she was able to join, and then yeah, she's now pursuing Room Link, which is a really good idea if she can move forward with that one as well. I think all of you have great ideas, and it's really amazing to see that how you're moving forward with that one. Okay. Thanks, Skylar again. Thanks, Preschool. Lisa, I think you are here, and I think your experience can be a little bit more interesting because now you joined the team, and yeah, share a little bit more about your experience.
Hello, yeah, nice to be in this program. Well, it's a question about what has really changed during the classes and so on. So what has actually changed is my perspective. Before, I was looking for some different innovation ideas for startup, which requires some, financial support of finding. And now, after the classes about AI, I just realized that it's probably what we don't really need to have a big financial support. We can launch some app or some website, and can be also startup idea or first of the steps. That's really inspired me. And yeah, and from one perspective, I feel a little bit lost in this regards because I really want to do my ideas, really push the team, with the ideas, with the business models, strategies, markets, and so on. From other point of view, I'm lacking some AIs, like maybe developer skills, but I want to learn more when I have free time, try to more to use these applications. You help us to find out, and I find out even more during the hackathon because people there share their ideas, like Lovable and more platforms. But about the team and everything during this event, I just realized that it probably, it's very important to have a team, and it's important to share the tasks, because if you are just like kind of startup, of course you're doing something aside during this. Even if you are dreaming to make a startup, even if it's your initial purpose, so if you really want to have company, it's really hard to do alone. You need to have a team, and you need to make your team to be inspired in this, to do the actions as well, and to follow this road together. And it makes it very interesting and challenging. And I see that now I'm doing something that I was really wanting to do for many years of my life, but didn't know the right steps. I hope these steps will work, or even if it's not working, I hope I will find the strength in me to find maybe another idea, or maybe to create something, another thing with AI, learn more. Maybe even if it's not working right now, maybe I will join some next hackathon, some other events. But definitely I want to keep in touch with you guys here with SGA. Thank you so much for these courses. This is really useful. Thank you so much for organizing this, I think, step by step, and making these tasks for us to follow them.
Okay. Yeah, Lisa, we are not saying goodbye yet because we have like 3 more weeks still left, and we will have demo day. Yeah, but I also wanted to ask that now you joined the Only Fashion team as a product management officer there, as a really crucial part of the team. So do you want to pursue that part of the startup that you are currently thinking of, or you're planning to move into your own idea with like connecting professionals? Which one you are looking into right now?
Like this week, I was working on, when I had a free time, I was working on competitors research, because yeah, we're looking for competitors, and writing the strategy for Only Fashion. I think it's because application definitely need to be related to the country. So I was looking for the ways to do it, and it's also related to financial systems and languages, culture, and so on. Was working on this, and just yesterday sent the results to the team, and we will see how do they like pursue this. Yeah, and I also will try by my side to do some stuff with that application on my ideas as well when I have time. However,
Yeah. Yeah, you're juggling a lot of ideas in your mind, but yeah, I'm happy that you're moving forward with that one and you found a team. And because Tim, I know him, Tim was one of the students from our first cohort. So he has been doing a lot of the things since then. So yeah, that's great. Let's move and talk with some other people. Obi, if you wanna talk a little bit, then we can move forward.
Hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Obi. So I don't have a lot to say, but I would say this program has impacted my life positively. I have learned a lot about finding a co-founder, the things to look out for. I have also been able to gain access to different resources that could help build an MVP. Because initially one would think that you need to start writing the codes from scratch, publish, and you need to look for developers and all those kind of stuff. But with the use of AI, I've been able to discover more and more platforms, which I have been testing from time to time. So this is positive and this is impactful for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also being a part of this organization where I know I can always ask questions in the future or get references is also a bonus point, which is why I'm still trying my very best to be part of what is going on here, even though it makes me feel uncomfortable most times. I have to sacrifice the time because I want to see to the end that I have completed something that will be valuable for me in the long run. And I would say thank you to Sohan for always making out time to respond to my messages on WeChat and your support. Thank you so much. So yeah,
It's all
for
right.
me, yeah, the
I feel
main
like all
takeaway.
of you are giving like a ending speech, like, hey, thank you for the program. I was just merely asking, what are the things that you have learned from the past few weeks that we have learned, and how did your idea evolve from there on? But yeah, thank you guys so much for like praising me and also the program, which is really good to hear. But also, we're gonna talk about that at the very end of the program. We're not letting you guys go now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't have much to say, but yeah, I've learned a
Yeah.
lot, to be honest. I
Yeah,
have.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that one. And yeah, we will have an office hour later on as well. Not today, but in future. And because I think we talked about your idea of the cryptocurrency, and I think I have some other insights that I got to know from the judges from the AI hackathon, and I will share with you those feedbacks as well, so that you can utilize that. Yep. Okay. I think we have Omar left. Omar, if you wanna like open up your mic and say something. Omar, are you with us? I don't know if you can hear. Okay. Okay, I think we can move forward with our lecture today. We already had a little bit of time chit chatting, and I feel like we kind of like lack this kind of interaction on a day-to-day basis. And mainly, I'm just talking about the things that we have to share with you guys. But I feel like it's also important to hear from you guys of how you're feeling and what are you looking forward to. We're gonna talk about that more in the future in the upcoming days. And I'm kind of warning you that for the next 3 weeks it's gonna be really intense. You're gonna have a lot of work and activities to do because now, as you launched and as you have a initial version of your product, Now iterating that and making it better acquisition, doing the customer acquisition, it's going to be really important part and the crucial part of your journey forward. If you can do that part really well, then later you don't have to like go become disappointed or like spend so much time thinking about which directions you need to go because you're not being able to execute well. So that's why the next few days, or I would say the next 1 month, is going to be really crucial for you guys. Okay, let's move forward. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about business models. So what are the business models? And then the top 10 business models, those are the most common ones. And which models are good and which models are bad. And I'm going to also give you some case studies of the similar companies that you can learn from. So business models are about how a company makes money. It's as simple as that. When someone asks you about what is a business model, you don't have to talk about everything. Oh, we're solving this problem, we're solving this one. You just talk about, okay, we have this plan and this is how we make money. And only a few business models can lead to huge success. Not all the business models can lead you to success. That's why I will talk about the top 10. So first of all, a lot of the times we are asked about business models, but why it's really important, why make money? It's because it will give you self-funding for your own startup. It reduces capital dependence. If you have a money for your startup that you're gaining from your customers, then you don't have to rely on your investors' money always, or outsource like money, or outsource money that kind of like is not stable. Or sometimes you're maybe putting your own money into the startup, but there's no like kind of barrier into like where you can stop and where you can move forward. So it's really important to have your customers pay for your product and services and retain them, because that's how you will be able to hire more employees. And also, as I mentioned, you can attract more and more talents. So the key thing here is that you can also invest in the future. So profits that you earn from your platform can be reinvested to drive product and service or market expansion. And it can attract and motivate employees as well. So if you provide them competitive salaries and maintain team efficiency, that's going to be a really key part of your startup moving forward. Now you will see a lot of talent battle going on in this world. You see Meta is taking away OpenAI's employees by giving them hundreds of millions of dollars of compensation, which is even more than a football player or celebrity earns. Now that's how rare it became to find those kind of talents. So if you're not being able to provide a competitive salary to your employees, then it's going to be hard to retain them. They're going to move into other platform, maybe to your competitors as well, which is the worst case scenario. If your employees leave your startup and move to your competitors, they can share all of your strategies and secrets with them as well, even though they can sign an NDA, but you never know, they can share here and there. Not the big things, but small things can also matter a lot. So customer and market validation. So continuous revenue demonstrates demand for products and services. So if you have customers and you're getting paid continuously, then it's going to be also easier for you to raise the next round of investment. You can show them, okay, we have this amount of customers. They're paying us continuously for the past 1 year. Now we are trying to raise more because we want to expand more. So what are the 10 common business models? First of all, SaaS, the most common one nowadays is, or even in the early 2000s, it was the most common one, is cloud-based subscription software. Then we have marketplace, which facilitates transaction between buyers and sellers. Then there's usage-based. It's like as much as you pay, as much as you consume, you can pay based on that. And then advertising, like selling ads to monetize free users. You're not charging the users, but you are showing ads to gain a lot of revenue. But I will mention that this is becoming more and more hard nowadays. Advertising is becoming the worst kind of like business model day by day, because now we have AI search and a lot of things. So when you search on Google right now, you don't see a lot of websites. There is like an AI summary comes up. So people are visiting less and less websites nowadays. So I will talk more about that in the upcoming slides. Then number 5 is e-commerce, selling products online. Then there's transactional, facilitating transactions and taking a cut from that. Let's say you're doing trade and you're providing a platform for that. And whenever there's a transaction there, you're taking maybe 2%, 5% cut from that transaction, but you're not charging directly to the customers. And then there's subscription. This is also a really common one for product or service. You charge them recurring base, maybe monthly or yearly. Then there's enterprise. Sell large fixed term contracts to big companies. There's hard tech or moonshot, which is like hard businesses with lots of technical risk and long time horizons. This is a long term game. This is not a short term play. And then there's biological, biotechnology, all of this stuff. This is like science-based tech companies. So let me give you some examples of the SaaS, software as a service. Adobe, Zoom, Slack, these are all like that. These are cloud-based subscription software. They usually give it to businesses, to universities, or some other places. If you take Zoom or Adobe as an example, you will see a lot of universities, they have their own organizational subscription. You can log in with your own university email, and you'll get the Zoom Pro for free. So this has the recurring revenue. MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. This is how much a company makes monthly from the subscriptions. And ARR, you'll hear this term ARR a lot when you're moving forward or trying to raise funds. Your investor is going to ask, what's the ARR of your company, which is annual recurring revenue. That means how much money your company is earning per year from subscriptions or from the service you're providing. And then there's marketplaces. Airbnb, DoorDash, Expedia. These are marketplaces where two-party comes in your platform and they does transactions, and that's how it works. For example, in our cohort, there's a room link. They're also trying to do something like that where there needs to be two sides. So one is like the people who are renting out the apartments and one who's wanting to rent the apartment. Because this is really hard to get started at the very beginning, because you need to target two different customer side. You're not focusing on one single customers. You're trying to get two. That's why it gets hard at the very beginning. But then once you get both of them in place, then it gets a lot easier because now you don't have to do a lot of work. Those customers will onboard by themselves, and also those people who wanna sell, they're also gonna come into play when you have a really good product. They will have word of mouth and you'll see more and more people using your product. Then scale and supply and demand at the same time. Like you'll have to scale the supply and demand at the same time. If there are people who are trying to rent an apartment, let's say, for example, Airbnb, there are some people who are trying to rent an apartment, but there are not enough people who want to rent out their apartments. That's why there's like a deficit of demand and supply. So that's why it's really important to have that supply and demand at the same time. Network effects at scale, which drives exponential growth. So if you have a big, huge network, then when you're trying to scale out, it's going to show you the exponential growth. Then the next one is usage based. As much as you use, you pay based on that. AWS, Amazon Web Services, Twilio, iCloud, is that the more space you need in iCloud, or if you're doing software related things, AWS, you'll have to pay based on that. Like for example, if we want to make some authentication system using AWS, you have to get their APIs, and based on that APIs, they will charge based on the record data uses. And it will grow, subscription and the money that you pay will grow as your customers grow. So that's how a lot of the companies like this are earning billions, because companies need to expand their operations. Product and pricing scale to support tiny to large. It's really straightforward. So yeah. Now talk about the advertising. I think some of you here are also thinking about advertising as your revenue model, but there's a caution in that because there has been a lot of study published since 2024 that Google search is dying, and websites, they are kind of like, they need to find new ways to do like find the way of revenue, maybe subscription or service based, because advertising is not working anymore because people are not clicking to websites anymore. When you search, I don't know if I can show you from my phone, but if you have Google and if you have VPN on, if you're in China, search any questions and you'll see AI results popping up, and it gives you a summary of by kind of like scanning through all of the websites, and it gives you the result. So nowadays, when people have any questions, they don't need to go to websites or look into that. They can just get it right away. That's why there's a research published that before our website used to have like daily visits of like maybe 60 times or 67 times, and now it came down to 10, 12, or 15 times. And in the next few years, it's going to come down more and more once this AI gets more developed. So that's why if you're trying to go into advertising, you'll have to consider that really well. Maybe you can find another model as your business model, but in this industry, other than Facebook and Instagram, which are like really big platform, and if you're making social media, and if you can get a lot of customers, then it can be a little bit easier. But if you're going into the website route, that you're gonna have a website and it's gonna show up in the Google search ranking, it's not working nowadays for the most of the companies. So they're moving into new strategies. So you'll have to do a little bit more research on that as well to find new ways of revenue from that one, because SEO is kind of like dying. And also, as I mentioned, it requires billions of impressions monthly. If you have 100 customers in your platform, you're not going to be able to show 100 ads to every single of them. If you have like 1 million customers, maybe you can get 1,000 people like clicking on the ads or earning revenue from them. So next one is e-commerce. Amazon, Temu, the Home Depot, these are all e-commerce based. So here what it does is like it does online sales through D2C and Shopify, not marketplaces. So marketplace and e-commerce will be different. It retains full sale value. So here the product tends to be commoditized, and it must excel in user acquisition and unit economics. It's really important. That's why there has been a lot of shopping platforms, e-commerce platforms that died within the first 2 years because they couldn't retain the customers, and they were not good at unit economics. Next one is transactional. This is this is also really hard to get started, but if you can get started, it's a really easy way to like earn money, because if you look at Stripe, Coinbase, or Alipay, people need to use it no matter what it is. So whenever there's transaction, even though in Alipay it's mostly free, but in Stripe, if you're doing some organizational based transaction, you need to pay some transaction fee. And if there's like cross-border transaction for some apps, like there's one, I think is I don't remember the name, but you can do the cross-border transaction. In China, there's one called SkyRemit, where you need to pay transaction fees as well. So these are people's day-to-day needs. And if you're trying to get into an industry where it's like daily uses based, there are high chances of getting customers and also earning revenue from that one. Okay. Then subscription. This is also a good model. If you can get customers and you price really well, people will pay it for anyways. This product or service, this is a product or service that is sold on a recurring basis. This is usually sold to consumers and with high volume of consumers with lower price points. So you cannot charge a general customer $100 unless your product is really, really good. Even ChatGPT doesn't charge for $100 to general customers. It's like $20 per month. So to have millions and billions of dollars as profits from subscription, you need to have millions and billions of people using your product as well. So this kind of models of growth is driven by scale and self-serve acquisition channels. You'll have to create your own acquisition channels to get to more customers. And there's enterprise. These thing doesn't come in one day. These are enterprises. These are companies that is built after decades. Oracle, Salesforce, SAP. They don't have general customers like us. We don't directly get service from Oracle, but we use some products of Oracle. For example, if you use Java programming language, that is part of Oracle. Because these are the enterprises that sell large fixed term contracts to big companies. So their customers are big companies. If we are getting a service from a big company, those big companies sellers are these enterprises. They have very few customers, direct sales, and much larger deals. Usually long sales cycles. Like they're not gonna do it for 1 month or 1 year. They have like 5-year, 10-year contract with those big companies. This growth is lumpy. You'll not be able to see the growth like, oh, it's jumping so high, and they're growing every single month. These grows out like within a long term, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the line. Then there's hard tech and moonshots. If you're trying to go into robot, or I think in our cohort, there's one who's also doing real estate drones, where you need to build one, which is hard tech. Hard tech businesses with significant technical and regulatory risks over a long period is moonshots or hard tech. Then it takes years for these companies to go to market, and the technical milestones or data can de-risk. And this is like revenue distant model. You will not be able to see a lot of revenue for the first 10 years, maybe. If you look at the robotic companies, they are still not earning revenue, but they're being able to raise money because investors who are investing in them, they're looking into the future. And these are the companies for the first 10 years, they're not gonna have any revenue, but in the 11th year, they're gonna earn billions in one week or 1 month. That's how it works. These are also kind of like a root-based company. So they grows root under the mud for long years, and then suddenly they grows up. That's how it works. If you look into companies like NVIDIA, for the past 20, 30 years, no one knew about their company, no one really cared about it. But now they're the most valuable company and the first company to become a $4 trillion company, which is bigger than a lot of the economies. If you consider the company NVIDIA as an economy, this is the 4th largest economy in the world after, I think, US, China, and maybe Japan. This is the 4th largest economy if you take one company, which is really huge. But even like 5 years ago, they were not like that. They were like maybe $100 million, $200 million valued company. So this is what AI revolution can do to companies and to also users as well. Now, last one is the bio related. There's Shugai, I don't know this company's name, Aido, Pfizer, we all know about it. These are also kind of like hard tech, but these are like a long-term R&D investment. Here you'll have to invest a lot in R&D, and also it needs long-term R&D commitment. And you need to raise a lot of finances to do that research and development. So that's why sometimes new companies like bio-related companies, they face significant financial hurdles because it's really hard to raise money in this category. And there's always uncertainty in regulatory approval. If you're trying to include and develop a new drug, then you have to get a lot of approvals, FDA approvals, a lot of other things. So this uncertainty can impact the company's progress. There are also some other models that have emerged in the last 5 to 10 years, which is like D2C, direct to consumer. This cuts out middlemen. If you look at in companies, when it started, Alibaba, it said it's cutting out the middleman. It's connecting you with the people who are directly selling. These letting companies sell directly to customers, control their brand, and boost profits. There's also in this category another one, which is consumer to manufacturer. So the first one is direct to consumer, which does is like if you have a shop, you can sell directly to the customers in your country or in other countries. But those shops needs to manufacture those products from other companies as well. So C2M does is that this try to connect those manufacturer with consumer directly. That's why you have seen a lot of import export companies are emerging, and they're talking about, oh, we directly get the products from manufacturer to you, to your door. And if you look at the Temu is doing that thing, C2M. That's why they're being able to source products and give it to customers in a really, really cheap price, because they have a huge customer base and also huge network of manufacturer. So let's move into what is a really good model and what is a really bad model of businesses. if you look into the top 100 companies, you'll see the top 3 are SaaS, transactional, and marketplace. SaaS holds 31% of the total businesses who are part of this model. So there are also other things after SaaS, transactional, marketplace. You can see hard tech also plays a big role, and enterprise, usage based. But if you look at this part, e-commerce and advertising, as I mentioned, these are the part which is really hard to scale. So when you're moving forward and trying to create the ultimate business model for your startup, keep these things in mind. Maybe you can try, okay, I'm going to be the unconventional one. I'm going to be the first one to disrupt the market, which is okay, but you'll also have to think about your team and your startup in general. And if you look at the most valued company of YC, the top 10 is Stripe, which is transactional, OpenSea, marketplace, Flare, marketplace, Brex, transactional, Deal. I talked about Deal. It's a SaaS. There's Rippling, Gusto, Flexport, Razorpay, Scale AI. These are, you can look, it's like transactional, marketplace, SaaS, and one of them is Artec. And if you look at the Morgan Stanley's business model, like the where it invested is like Apple, Everest Networks, ASML Holding, Chugai Pharmaceuticals. These are like these are a little bit different that transactional. They're more hard techs because these companies usually invest into not startups but startups that already are established that who are trying to raise maybe Series A, Series B, Series C. But if you look into the YC, which is the that you can refer to most. So okay, let's move into our next slide, which is good models. As I mentioned, that there are some good models and there are bad models. So SaaS, software as a service, has stable revenue with customers paying monthly or annually. Thus, it grows significantly. There's transactional, which outperforms because they're in the flow of funds. You don't have to try to always gain customer. As long as there are people who needs to do financial transaction, you will get the funds. They're marketplaces. These are most likely to build winner-take-all companies and get massive network effects. If you look at Airbnb, everyone knows about Airbnb because that's how a marketplace can have impact. So what can you take away from these good models is that generate recurring revenue as much as possible, have high retention rate, build defensible modes, are close to the transaction, scale. It can be scalable with software, not with people, are proven and familiar to customers. So when you're trying to make a business model, you can make your unique model as well, but try to keep these factors into that business model. Then if I talk about the bad business models, which are some of the bad business models? As I mentioned, advertising. It rarely scales. Success requires viral spread and strong network effects. Service and consulting sectors. These are often suffer from low profitability and unstable revenue because if you need consulting where people are required, you need a lot of people and you need to pay them, you need to provide a service, but there can be an exception if you can convert this into a software-based consulting. That can be a different thing. But if you're doing the in general service and consulting, then it's really hard to have profitability there. Hardware, capital intensive, high startup cost, and low profit margins. It can challenge growth a lot. And there's platform dependent. It has high risk dependency, can lead to restrictions or shutdowns for the host platform. For example, if I say, okay, you need to hold app or under the certain website, then it has high risk. What if that one shuts down? Then your whole business also shuts down. This platform dependent doesn't mean that you're getting a domain from Hostinger or GoDaddy and that's dependence. No, those are like really renowned one, and most of the domains are from those platforms. But what I'm talking about is that if you need, let's say, an API from, let's say, OpenAI, and who knows if tomorrow OpenAI shuts down, you're going to lose your API. So really important not have that much dependency in a third-party platform. And the bad models are that use okay, now 1 second. I think my slides got stopped because of network issue. I'll just share it again. Okay. Yeah. As I mentioned, if you're trying to create a business model, try to have a recurring payment system, not just one time. I mean, you can have some sort of services where people are paying one time for a particular service that they don't need to use it every single day or every other day. You can keep that one, but the main payment system of your platform shouldn't be just one time. So let's move into our different other models that can have a really good ones. E-commerce or plus subscription. So let's give an example. If there's a product that is like tasty, good for health, addictive, this is a really good product. It can also have inventory advantage. The older the inventory, the more valuable it becomes. And it's low cost, high gross margin, high market demand, confident in raising prices. Then, so if you take an example of like Costco. So Costco is a really good example of this e-commerce plus subscription-based model. People can also have like the membership of Costco, which gives them lower prices. But if you don't have, you can also get one time and pay with a little bit more prices. Okay. One more is a SpaceX. This is a hard take plus enterprise. SpaceX has a real estate company, to be honest. These are like developing infrastructure for habitable space and acquiring and managing extraterrestrial land. So that's their goal. That's what they want to do. Even though we say it's a space company, but what they're doing, if you go to Arizona, you'll see they have already got a lot of land and they're building their empire there. So every business model has like a key thing that they don't really talk in public. What is their business model? But maybe that's the most efficient way for them to earn revenue. There's Apple. This is subscription plus e-commerce plus hard tech. If you look into Apple, we think, okay, it's a tech company, but to be honest, it's a design company. Why Apple is winning over all the other manufacturers who are making phones or who are making laptops? Because the design is so slick. That's how Steve Jobs created it. His main purpose was to create it as a design company, not just as another tech company. So that's why when you're trying to create your business model, you can look into like combining 2 or 3 types of different business models and combining them together and have a vision that is different from other companies to set you apart. Because this emphasizes aesthetic and functional elegance. Apple's because it's focusing on design, and it crafts products that blend technology with lifestyle. It will never talk about, oh, our company and our iPhone has this features, that features, which is better than others. They talk about how these features blend with your lifestyle. That's how they're creating attention, and that's how people have more relevance with this company. So what I would say, if you want to make a really good business model, start charging your customers and take the first step. Just dare to charge the customers. So what is the biggest risk in early startup? Can anybody here say what can be the biggest risk in early start? Anyone? Saren, I think you joined a little bit later. So yeah, what do you think is the biggest risk in the early startups where you guys are standing currently right now? Okay. Sharon is saying the big investment. Anyone else? Chris, Lisa, Obi, Jainab is also here. What do you guys think is the biggest? Yeah.
I think my opinion is maybe different than from others. I think the biggest risk is not being serious.
Okay.
Like,
Yep.
That's a good one.
that's the attitude, I think, is what decides a lot about the startup. Like, what are you willing maybe to give up or sacrifice to make your dream come true?
Okay.
I want to say about time, because it's not that what you started is going to show you just immediately you are going to see the output. So of course, startups is long process, is going to take time, and you need to patient about this, that you have enough energy to continue follow the path. Yeah, this is like time is another thing, is it's taking time.
Okay. Yeah, those are really great points. Lisa, Obi, Zainab, you joined a little bit later. Uncertainty. I mean, oh, okay, Skylar. Uncertainty. Yeah. I mean, if you're starting a startup, if it's not uncertain, then it's not a startup, to be honest. It's just, you're probably just a future teller and you know everything what's gonna happen. Life is uncertain and startup is more uncertain than ever. So yeah, okay. I think we can move forward with. So the biggest risk in early startup is demand risk. How do you create demand for the product that you're trying to create? Obviously, when you're starting out, you're trying to find a problem that people want to solve, and then based on that, you're creating a solution. But how do you generate more demand? And how do you know that more and more people would need it, and your startup is gonna like last for longer? So what true businesses need is that the users is willing to use and pay. I think I mentioned about it last time as well, that don't go to your friends to test your product. But even if you're going to your friends, ask them, hey, would you pay for it? Just pay for me $10 for this service. I'll provide you the best service possible. If they're willing to pay, okay, they're giving you right feedback. So that's how, when you're trying to get new customers as well, you can give them free trials. You can give everyone would like a free trial. Even today, you ask me, hey, you want to try it my product for free? Like, okay, there's no cost in it. But the people who are really willing to pay for that one, they are the real users and they're in real need. So that's what startup needs: users willing to use and pay it. Because the paying customers represent the value of your product. When you're trying to set, okay, what can be the price of my product? If you're trying to figure that out and you're not being able to find that out, you can just go out to people who really needs it and ask them, okay, how much would you pay for this product? You can directly ask them. And some might say, okay, $10, $20, and some might say, okay, I'm willing to pay $100. And based on the common responses and most responses, you can set a price. Obviously, if most of them say $10, you can make it $12, a little bit more. People would be willing to pay $2 more. But if you want to keep it really straightforward, you can keep it $10 like that. So that's how you kind of like set the price of your product. Because one more thing here is that when you're getting customers, I think I also mentioned it, with Chris when we were talking in WeChat, he reached out, is that if you get customers who are paying for your product, it also shows how your product is different, and it will give you a validation to the investors to invest in you, because now they can see the real transactions and they can see the real progress in track. So if you're trying to build your startup out, just try to make these key things straight and get these things right. Other things will fall into place. So how to choose your first wave of customers? How do you choose that one? Can I make money from everyone? First question you're gonna ask to yourself. The answer is no. No company can serve the entire market. If you're presenting and you show, okay, the whole market of in my industry is like $50 billion, and I'm trying to get maybe at least 10% of them. It's not true. Even if some companies say, oh, I'm starting a company in China, even if I can get 1% of the population pay for my service, this company will become $1 billion service. That's never possible. That doesn't really happen. And if you say that thing to investors, they're not going to believe in it because they have a lot of more experience in this category and have seen a lot of startups who are trying to do that but not successful. So you'll have to focus on a niche market and handpick at the very beginning, handpick the customers who can be your early users and who are willing to pay for you. Because those customers, early customers, will share the word of mouth to others, and that's how you can get more and more customers. And then you can do advertising or promotion, marketing, all the other stuff. Because as I mentioned, that what you need to do is segment your market and decide your commercial entry point. Where can you enter from? At the very beginning, without having any customers, if you run ads or marketing, there might be impulse buy, but they are not really truly your customer. You'll see a lot of times when you're doing shopping and something, maybe you don't need that product, but because of that impulse buying system, you just click on that and maybe the price is really low, you can get that one. But most of the times, they're not all of them are real customers. If you want to get real customers, just go and see how long they're using it for. Is it just for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, or for the past 6 months they're using it constantly? Let's move forward with this example. So I'll give you some basic principles of early market segmentation. One is people who buy your product are a specific group, and be very clear about it. And you can even name this group by yourself within your company, within your startup. You can sell to them using the same method. So you don't have to say a lot of different things to different people. People who are your targeted customers, they're going to understand the same sales pitch. They're going to understand the same description that you give of your product. And it should be really straightforward. Of what I mean by straightforward is like your business pitch or how you provide service should be really clear to them. You don't have to use a lot of term like, oh, we have AI agents, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning. If a startup uses a lot of those buzzwords, those are bullshit. They don't even know what is machine learning is, what is neural network is, what is AI agent is. They're just using it because now it's a trend. Unless you know what you're doing really clearly, don't use that term. If you can explain the term to a 5-year-old kid, then only you can tell that to your customer as well. Because when we are a customer, when we are trying to try a new product, we think like a 5-year-old because we don't know anything about that. Because we are not also willing to go and watch 2 hours of tutorials to be able to learn how to use this product. So that's why it's really important to make it really simple so that without even having any tutorials, I can go through this platform and learn how to use it. And also these people can influence each other. When they're using product, they will also go out and influence others of telling, okay, how this product made their life easier. Because these customers are innovators and visionaries. The problem that you might not be able to see, those customers can point that out like, hey, if you did this one, that would have been easier for me. I wish this platform had this one, then this whole service would have been a lot better. So that's why it's really important to get the real customers for your product at the very beginning. I'll give you a case study of Meituan. I think all of us were in China, we know about it. It's the most famous delivery service in China. And what that did at the very beginning, instead of focusing on like all the people in the country, they focused on college students. They started delivering food to the college students. They didn't go into white collar families for different needs. They tried to figure out what the college student needs, and they served based on that. And they did campus promotion. They made student ambassadors. That's how they moved forward at the very beginning. Little overlap between students and white collar workers. They had a little bit of overlap, but these are two different category of people, and it's hard to influence each other. College students are more willing to adopt new products as innovators. So I think people who are in university right now, whether you're doing undergrad, master's, or PhD, you have a huge advantage because you can test your product inside your university by giving it to college students because they're more educated than general people, and they are trying out new things, and they're really interested, and they want to see how things are moving forward and how the world moving forward. So one more thing that you need to focus on while you're trying to do this thing is prioritize product iteration and start with the easy ones. Product iteration means of like how you're developing your product day by day. Start with customers who are willing to quickly try the product and provide feedback. Start with customers who are easy to convert to paying customers, and start with familiar customers around you. Start with other startups as well. So that's how you can move really forward with developing your product more and more. And I'll give you the slides after the end of this class, and I think you can just go through this key information and just take notes, and based on that, create your own strategies of how your startup will move forward with customer acquisition and all the other things that I talked about with business models. So at first, establish a stronghold first, then expand to new markets. I think you guys already know about it. Dominating your niche and then scaling later on. Because if you can become the top player in your own niche, you can become also top player in a new market. So that's how, because once you become a really strong team and strong startup in one niche, they now have the experience into expanding into bigger markets as well. So let's talk about pricing. I think I already talked about pricing a little bit, but a pricing can reveal who desires your product, how intensely they desire it, the value your product delivers to them, and which avenues you can utilize to attract more customers. So if someone is willing to pay, you can see how much they desire it, and the more desire they have, the more you can charge. And then it also gives you the chance to value your product. Like, what is the value of your product? Do you need to improve more, or how can you raise the value of this product? That's going to give the constant motivation to your team to keep improving, and it will show your team like where and which plays are important to adapt and improve. Let me give you some, like, let's say 5 pricing insights. First of all, you should charge. I mentioned it 100 times maybe right now. And price on value, not cost. What I mean by that is that if you're making a product and maybe it costs you like maybe $10 to manufacture that, and you're saying, okay, maybe I'll charge $17 for this one because I need $10 to manufacture, $2 for marketing, $1, and then $3 to pay like my employees and all the other costs, and then I can have maybe $3 more profit or like $2 more profit. Don't price based on that cost. Provide price based on the value that you're providing. If it's solving a problem that no one else in the market can solve, you can charge as much as possible. That's why you'll see at the very beginning when companies like ChatGPT was evolving, they were charging a lot. Like even they're like charging $20, but if you look at their agentic modes, they were charging like $200, $500. But then models like DeepSeek came in who were providing this service for free. Then the value dropped, and then there was a thing that ChatGPT was planning to raise their price. But when this DeepSeek and other open source models came in who were performing better than them, they didn't raise it because then they will lose value, they will lose market share. That's why you need to see of which value you can provide. And if you are the only one who can provide the value most, then you can charge as much as possible. Okay. And then the next one is like most startups are undercharged. This is a really key important thing where you need to figure out it later. Once you try to gain some customers, then you need to figure out whether you're charging more or undercharge. Obviously, your customer is going to give you indication, and you need to pick up on that of like whether they're dissatisfied with the price or they are easily paying those prices. That's how you can figure out of like if people are really paying it really easily and they don't have any complaint about it, maybe you're somehow undercharging. But there are also a lot of other methods you can find out. And one thing is that pricing isn't permanent. You might think, oh, I want to start my service or product with maybe $20 per month, but later I won't be able to change it. No, you can change it. If you look at Notion, I don't know if I have that example here, maybe not. Notion at the very beginning, they charged $8 per month for the basic one, and then I think $20 for the pro ones. But then they later made it premium. They charged $0 for using basic features, and then $16 instead of 20 for pro version, because they saw that people are not willing to pay that much for a work management system. That's how they like value their product. And most important part is keep it simple. Don't have maybe 5 to 10 different pricing models. Like, okay, you can get $20, $50, $100, $200. Keep it maybe under 2, 3 different pricing models. That will make it more simpler to make decisions for the customers. Then one other things that I think I already talked about also, but you can also look into it, is that which users are most willing to pay, and then target more on them. And don't overthink this part. Like, are you users willing to pay? Which users are most willing to pay? How much are willing to pay? You don't need to overthink, just start, and then based on the process, you can kind of customize and change day by day. And you have to, that's how you need to find the right order of magnitude, because as I mentioned, pricing isn't permanent. Then price and value is, founders often start with cost plus pricing. And I mentioned this is not recommended. You should set the price based on the value. Like, you can see your margin and this is the cost. Wait, I think I'm moving a little bit fast. So this is your cost and this is your price and this is the value. So if your cost is this and your price is here, but maybe you're providing this much of value, you should charge based on this. Okay. Before we move into a little bit more on this, I think we can take a short break of 5 minutes, and then we can again come back. We have maybe 10, 15 more slides left, and then we will finish. But before that, just take a quick break and we come back again. Okay. I think we can again get back, and also guys, you guys can let me know of whether I'm going too fast, because yeah, there are a lot of things that needs to be covered, and we have short time. Even like 2 hours is a long time for you guys. I don't want to go over 2 hours as well. But yeah, I think if needed, if you need to clarify on some points, you can just let me know, raise your hand, and I will just clarify right at that spot. Okay. 1 second. My slides. Okay. I think most of you already have a product here. So I want to ask this question. What is the problem that you're hoping that your product could solve? Chris, Lisa, Obi, Sharon, you guys all have Zainab, I mean, you all of you have your own product. So what is the thing that you are trying to focus on? Like, what are the problem that you're hoping that your product will solve? Like, is the goal is like make more money, or reduce this cost, move faster, or avoid risk?
Okay, so for me, my product would enable people to make more money.
Okay, that's great. Saran mentioned move faster, maybe. Even though it's not like direct like answer to a lot of the questions, there can be a lot of other answers, but these are some key ones. I mean, like Skylar mentioned that reduce cost for a student. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so these are some key points when you are trying to create your own startup and the business model. You should, based on the problem that you're solving and the value that you're providing, you can raise your prices. And because the price implies value. And I will just go over these slides. Uh, what if users pay more? This is a key question you need to ask at some point of your startup. that what if users won't pay, and what is the ideal price? So the ideal price is when customers complain, but they still pay. So your customers might complain, okay, you don't have this service, why don't you have this feature or that feature? But they're still willing to pay the price for the existing service you have. That means you have a product market fit, or you have a market demand for your product. But what if they don't more value? You need to a bigger problem and lower your price. But are you gonna lower? It's gonna be the cost for them as well. So give a lower price. You can give them a lower price. If you get lock in, you renew a higher price, and these are like if you get locked. My internet today is kind of like shaky because I'm traveling, so yeah. Okay. Let me give you an example of what it means by giving a simplified version of your price. If you look here, you can see that the difference, this is one company's pricing model, and this is another company's pricing model. Which one do you think is better? Left one and right one? You can just write in the chat as well. Which one seems more compelling to you? Okay. Okay, Obi said left, and Amin will say right. Okay, I can see there's a contradiction, but based on research, most users prefer the right one. Because it's really simple, just two options, and users can make better decision. Why is it a good model? Let me give you the reason for that. Think of yourself as a user of a certain product. Let's imagine the product that you use in a day-to-day basis, and you need to pay for that one. And if you have these tons of options, you're gonna start thinking, okay, should I pick the $399 version? Should I pick the $349, $399? You're thinking, what is the best value for you? And by thinking about it, you need more time to make decisions to pay. That's how a lot of the startups lose customer, because the users are not being able to make quick decisions. If you give them a lot of options, they'll think which one is best for them. And they're gonna start asking, Google searching, but at the end, maybe they'll say, oh, it's too much troublesome, I'll just get another service. But if you have just two options, or three at most in some cases, but two can work most of the time, that gives them, okay, if I get Plus, that's the only option. This is, I'm paying monthly. But if I have a big team, I can get this service. So that makes it easier for them to make quick decision, and you get paid right away. That's why when you're creating your business model, pricing model, try to follow the right one. Now, let's talk about the growth strategies. We talked about business models, how to create that one, how can you create your own way of like charging customers, and what are the things that you can include. I hope you guys will study and analyze with your team, by yourself, and make the best business model for your startup right away. But then after you made the business model, you'll have to grow now. So let me talk about the fundamentals of growth strategies. Can everybody see my slides here? Yeah, I think. Okay. So the fundamentals of growth strategies is like a product. Always maintain momentum, because winners keep winning. If you start momentum, you're not updating, you're not providing more and more better service to your customers, then they're take away your customers. So it's always easy, and it's always important to keep the momentum. And that's how growing. You have uh, all growth. That one tool also thinks is used oftentimes in startup. You'll have less competitors, and you're gonna be the only team who can do this thing. So this is how a startup curve look like. You run into a lot of challenges. Tech crunch of initiation, weighing of novelty, and then throw of sorrow. This is like the process when you're going through the process of sorrow. And then you release a little bit of improvement. Then there's a cap, crash of amplitude, wiggles of false hope, the promised land, which is like, okay, now here you see, okay, you have a lot of potential and you're gonna grow. And then you start having acquisition of liquidity and the upside of buyers. So your startup is not gonna be linear when you're trying to grow. It's not gonna be just a straight line. It's gonna be up and down, sometimes a wiggle, sometimes going really up, and then the next day it falls down completely. So that's where, as a founder, you need to have the identity and keep believing in your idea and look at the real growth. If you are a founder, don't just be delusional. Don't just believe in your idea blindly. Okay. So if you say, okay, I believe I want to pursue this one really, what is the base of your belief? Do you have the customers? Do you have the numbers of how they're growing? What is the monthly retention rate? How much is growing? How much it has done in the past? Because every startup will have ups and downs. And if it's having ups and downs, that's a good. But if it's just, okay, going up and up and up, and you're believing in that, there's no down, that means there will come a time it can completely go down. Obviously, after it gets established, most of the time it's like growth, the growth trajectory is upwards. But at the very beginning, you can't really say that your idea is the best idea in the market and the best service in the market unless you have the real data. So when you're trying to create your startup, try to gather as many real data as possible, because that can give you the real belief instead of delusion. And also it can give investors a chance to invest in you. So what is the other thing that means by do things that don't scale? First of all, I mentioned, I think, truly understand your customers. Don't rush into hire a sales team until learn how to sell yourself. We said that the founders needs to be all-rounders. So at the very beginning, if you can do some certain things, don't just jump into and trying to get those people, especially if it's like sales team, because you'll have to train your employees to sell more. But if yourself don't know, you'll also don't know like if the outcome that they're bringing is right or wrong, and if you're doing their best or not. Deeply understand your product and market. In one word, be an expert in the industry where you are. Every day, if you are doing something, it should be based on the things that you're looking forward with your startup. You have to learn some things. You'll have to grow with that part of your startup. Then also, there needs to be a passion for solving customer problems, and also it should be contagious. You should be so obsessed with solving customer problem that maybe your team members or employees start saying that our founder is not there. He or she is always obsessed with creating more value or providing customers. They treat customers like wife. So those are a lot of the different things that you can learn from these founders as well. If you look into early days of Lei Jun, I think I talked about it. He was going out in the market and showing his product to customers in the road in the sunny days. Same goes for Jensen Huang, and how you saw Steve Jobs, his presentation. He always inside the team was focusing on how he can make the best user experience for his customers. Not for the tech bros who understands a lot of tech, but for general people, how they can have the best user experience. Same for Sam Altman. He built OpenAI for 8 years before it came into the public eyes, and he was always obsessed with the early stage of users. A lot of the people have been using OpenAI's ChatGPT from 2017, when we didn't even know about it existed, but they were the early users and they knew. And even some of them got into the team. They joined the team as early founders, as the early team members, because they could see the potential. That's how good of customers can be. They can see the vision as well if you really have a good one. And here's a good one. I think most of you will really need this one when you are going to move forward, trying to make some cooperation or trying to get investments. How to write a great sales email. First of all, there are some criterias. It should be short, not like all of the background. Oh, I have this experience, that experience. I've been doing this one, blah, blah, blah. Just 6 to 8 sentences, clear language, no buzzwords. Address the problem. Say you are the founder and describe your success, not you as a person, but your success with the company, with the startup. Include your website or app link if you have. Ask for a call, maybe a video call or a meeting like that, and have sincerity and empathy. If I show you an example of a really great sales email, here you can see. Hello, Amanda. It was inspiring to read your latest blog post on your goals to become a carbon neutral organization by 2030. I'm sure you've already run into the complexities of this process. We can help. I'm the CEO and founder of Mountain View, and we make software to help companies easily measure and reduce their carbon emissions. Among our customers are Instabase and Smitten Ice Cream. They have found that using software is dramatically easier than consultants to do this work, and it's more accurate. Our team previously led product and engineering teams at Airbnb, Twitch, and Google. I would love to find some time to show you a demo of what we're building. Would you have time on Friday work? If it's easier, feel free to choose a time here. They're giving the calendar link. So this is really straightforward. First of all, they're talking about the problem that this company might be facing, and what. Then in the next paragraph, who are they and how they're solving the problem, and who are their customers. They're showing a track of progress. And then they also show the experience of their team with just one sentence. Our team previously led product and engineering teams at Airbnb, Twitch, and Google. If you don't have that one, you can always bring that. Our team have always built this one, that one. They have worked on this project, that project, just within 1 or 2 lines. And then you're suggesting for a time to me. This is how straightforward it can be. It can always also be smaller than this one as well. Okay. Let's talk about the sales funnels. What can be the sales funnels? So first of all, you can look into the upper part, list of potential customers, and then email or message them, schedule meetings with them, disclose price or close them, and then comes revenue. The sales email I just showed you guys, this is not only for if you're trying to do cooperation or if you're trying to get in touch with the corporation, but also for your customers. If you're trying to reach out to your customers, you can at first address their problem. Make a list, a spreadsheet or CSV file of the potential customers, and then email them directly. And then ask them to schedule meetings with them, because you need to talk with your initial customers one-on-one and get to know their problems and let them use your product as well. And then you can disclose your price and also let them choose the price, let them pay. Then your first customer should always be the easiest. We should have a big pipeline of potential customers. That's why you need to prioritize correctly. At first, what you can do, sell to your network. If you have a big network of people, and I know some people here in this cohort, I think Chris mentioned that you have a big community of German people, their network. I think Aliza, you're working in a company, you have that network there. I mean, you are in a university, you have the students there. I am not going into more specifics for everyone, but everyone has some sort of network inside that bubble. They have a bubble. So at first, sell to your network and bubble. And then later also you can sell to startups. Let's say you're trying to let's say you're trying to create a service, and some startups might need that service as well. So you're selling it to startups as well. And because one more thing you need to keep in mind is that 95% of people aren't early adopters. So avoid them. So next one, why do you have to charge your first customer? I think you can see the slide as well. I think I talked about it a lot of times, is that if you don't charge, you're not a company. I mean, then you can become a nonprofit. I mean, I'm a nonprofit organization like us, and then you can provide a lot of value. But if you're not grow and scale, even if nonprofit, even if someone are nonprofit, they need to have a source of fund to be able to do some sort of things with the target customer base. So if you're a startup, that's why you definitely have a sales funnel or channel of getting revenue. And it's also a sign that you're providing value. If they don't want to pay, you should move on. No free trials, offer a money back guarantee, or opt out from annual contract. At the very beginning, to test out from the customers, you can give them a free trials, but most of the time what you need to do that you pay us this money, and within the next 1 week or 1 month, if you don't like our product, we'll give you the full money refunded. That can also help more, because then you are getting the money because people are willing to pay and they're risking their money. That shows their commitment. And then increase your price until customers are complaining but still paying. So there's a key thing that you can focus on, is that working backwards from your goal. A wrong example is that, okay, number of outreach is that, let's say 500 people. Oh, sorry. And then open rate. What I mean by is that email opening rate is at 50%. So let's say 250 people opened out of 500. 5% replied, which is like 20 replies. And the demo conversion, like people who you emailed, the early customers, 50% of them tried your demos, which is 10. And the conversion to customer is that out of those people, only 20% or 2 customers have been converted. Then this is not really a good example. How long to get 10 paying customers? First of all, let's say you have 100 people that you emailed. Open rate is 50%, reply 5%, demo conversion is 2.5%, and customer is 0. So too few emails lead to wrong feedback. These are all the wrong examples that I just showed you. Is that if you're having low volume, let's say 500 or 10 or 100, you might think, okay, I'm sending 500 emails, but at the end of the day, you're getting only 2 customers. So only this number matters, not this number, 500 or 100. So when you're trying to send out emails and try to get customers, focus on the outcome number, not the outreach number. You don't know, like at the very beginning, your conversion rate. That's why you need a CRM to keep track. And outbound sales is ultimately a numbers game. You cannot close 5 customers from 10 leads. That's what I just mentioned. If you think, okay, you're reaching out to 500 people, maybe 300 of them will be your customers, it's completely wrong. Most founders don't work their way backwards. That's why, as a result, they don't get enough sales done. That's why you have to work backwards in this way. Track the numbers you're outreaching, open rate, because you can also use a lot of software for that. You can see when you're sending an email, how many people have opened it, how many people clicked on the link that you provided, all of the stuff. If you just search in Google, I think you'll find it. If you don't, I will just provide it later on. Let's go. Okay. Do we need one more break? Let me hear from the chat. Guys, do we need any breaks? Let me see how many left. Okay, where are we? Okay, there's like, I think 10 slides left. Okay. Let's move on of talking about most common sales mistake is, as I mentioned also, founders don't send enough outreach. If you're just sending 500, maybe you'll get 2 or maybe at most 10. And also believing that something else, but sales will solve your sales problem. When you already have passed your MVP stage and you're getting customers, sales is the thing that can solve all of your problems. And sometimes what founders do is they outsource sales. They hire a team or they give it to some other company, third-party company, to do the sales for them, do the marketing for them. And also not qualifying your customers enough to first call. At first, you have to qualify your customers. Yeah, I think I mentioned about the recommended tools of cold email. One of them is MailChimp. You can use MailChimp, ccgpt.net. This is also a cold call tool. I think this is more of like AI based, but this is the most used one for emails in the industry. I think I already talked about Notion, so I'm not gonna go into Notion. You can see their pricing strategy now and then beforehand. I will provide you the slides. Let's talk about a little bit more about growth conception. Okay. This is kind of taken a little bit from the Notion side as well, is that the growth should be product-led. A product is self-serve with a freemium or trial offering, like Spotify, Netflix, Figma, Airtable, Notion. And it should be sales-led. The product requires sales to onboard you. For example, IBM, Oracle, Snowflake, Microsoft, and Salesforce. And you can have a sales assist like mix. And for more conceptions of like, you can focus on top-down strategy. You go after key decision makers. You can also do bottom-up, which is you target individual contributors within a company. And the other one is community-led. Community does the selling for you. This was a Notion strategy. They targeted by going from 0 to 1. What they did is like target on B2C and then SMBs with then less than 100 employees, and then they did community-led growth. And there's the product-led growth. You can look into Google Docs, Evernote, Asana, Trello, because they're saying they said we are replacing X for this one. So Trello, Asana, Jira, they said we're replacing Google Docs and Evernote. And that's how they went into single player mode. Because people, if you're creating something that needs a lot of people to use it at the same time, it might not be a good model. So having a single player mode, like anyone can use that one, will be able to that can have a really good product-led growth. And then this integration onboarding for you guys, I think that's why I'm just skipping through it. Yeah. I think this can be important when you build that people really want, and most. So 0 to 1 as ambassadors for growth strategies and also the our business model. And from now on, what you can do is that summarize the potential business models and list one corresponding company for each business model and evaluate each company. It can be under your niche or we talked about, but obviously you have to find all the potential business model that we talked about and list one company from there on and analyze them, evaluate how they made success, how they didn't. And then later, also you can focus on this reading assignment. I mean, 2 of them is reading assignment, Crossing the Chasm, Founding Sales, 2 books that you can follow. And there's Lenny's newsletter or podcast that you can also follow. These 2 are really good books that can take you from now MVP to getting customers, getting sales, and also Lenny's podcast, you can listen to it while you are running or doing other activities. Okay, now I would go into Q&A, and if you guys have any questions. Okay. I guess we don't have any more questions for now, but one more thing that I want to share with you guys is that now I'm traveling, I'm going to go back. So today I'm not going to be able to have office hours with you guys, but stay in touch with me in WeChat. And if you need any help with someone or something, let me know. Okay. Sarah has a question. What if we don't get any customers at the beginning? Okay. That means your product needs to be improved, or maybe it's not good enough for the market. I'm being really blunt about it, because if your product is really good and there are people who needs it, because obviously you created your startup based on people's need. Like, otherwise, why would you create a startup if it's not solving a real problem? Now, your task is to find those people who are facing those problems and reach out to them, even if it's like online, remote, inside a university or some other places, because startups will obviously have customers at the very beginning. And what I mean by the very beginning, if you haven't launched your product yet, then it doesn't count. If you have launched it, then it counts. And that's why I also say, like, at first have the initial version of your product that is flexible and that is also functionable. Then try to get those customers. I mean, I'm not saying that at the very beginning you have to have 100 customers. Even if you have like 5 to 10 customers who are using a product, who are giving you feedback, that's a good enough stage to move forward. So that's why I've been focusing a lot in the customers for the past 2 lectures as well, to getting customers. So you'll have to find the strategies of how you can get them and how you can develop the product based on what your customers need. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Yeah. So as I was talking about that, I'll not be able to go have office hour today, but feel free to reach out to me. And also from next week, we will have classes, and also next Sunday we might also have one more activity. I think that can be our last activity, or before demo day we might have one more activity. But for now, that is from me, and I will update all of you with all of the details that I have later on, and hopefully I will see you in the same time zone from next week. Okay, so this is it for today. Thank you again. I'll see you on next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a safe trip.